What up? Big Herc916. Positivity, motivation. Keeping you guys laced up, man, because if I don't lace you up, who will? This story I thought would catch your interest, especially when you got family members, relatives, going to jail, prison for selling drugs, for being caught up in drug houses, conspiracies, RICO charges. This is a New York Times article. Nation's first supervised drug injection sites open in New York. November 2021. So this has actually been out for a little while, but I hadn't heard about it. During their first official day in operation at the two Manhattan facilities, trained staff reversed 2 overdoses, officials said. How many people you know did time for drugs? Being around drugs. A lot of time, decades. Never even been around drugs, got caught around drugs and did time for conspiracies. Now you got these state officials legally having trap houses and they're controlling the flow of the drugs. That's why I said, man, the game is backwards, man. It's backwards. They treat us like old slaves, but yet they turn around and flip the script and treat us like old slaves still. In an attempt to curb surge in overdose deaths caused by increasingly potent street drugs, New York City authorized 2 supervised injection sites in Manhattan that began operating on Tuesday. Don't that sound like New Jack City, the Carter? Projects, drugs going everywhere, people shooting up. See, the war on drugs is a joke, man. I'm telling you, man, it's a cold game, man. You guys better wake up and learn how to play the right way. Trained staff at 2 sites in the neighborhoods of East Harlem and Washington Heights provided clean needles, administered naloxone to reverse overdoses, and provided users with options for addiction treatment. Users brought their own drugs to the site. Now, who did they buy the drugs from? New York's the country's most populous city, became the first U.S. city to open officially authorized injection sites, facilities that opponents view as magnets for drug abuse, but proponents praise as providing a less punitive and more effective approach to addressing addiction. So you're going to free all the brothers who got locked up for crack, drug conspiracies, marijuana? You're going to free all them? I'm telling you, man, wake up. Other cities, including Philadelphia, San Francisco, Boston, Seattle, have taken steps towards supervised injection, but have yet to open sites amid debate over legal and moral implications of sanctioning illegal drug use. Do you want your children going to places like this? Do you want your kids to be permanently just drug addicts, hooked on dope? Do you want them just to go around just shooting it? I mean, really, do you want a culture where people are zombied out? They act like it's okay, it's cool. 2 Manhattan sites were already operating as needle exchange programs, and some residents in the communities have previously raised concerns about the decision to place the sites in less affluent areas of the borough. Yeah, don't put it next to my house. Don't put it over here in these brownstones. Put that shit in the ghetto. Put it in the hood. Let them shoot that dope, smoke that dope in the hood is what they saying. That's what they saying. Smoke it in the hood. We don't mind. Keep y'all high, but stay away from us. In an interview, Dr. Dave A. Chokshi, the city's health commissioner, said the city was moving forward to address a public health crisis. Every 4 hours, someone dies of a drug overdose in New York City. He said, we feel a deep conviction and also a sense of urgency in opening overdose prevention centers. Now, why are people doing so much drugs, you think? Oh, they just want to do it? Are they not depressed? Are they dealing with other mental issues? Are they dealing with other family issues? Other societal issues that need to be addressed to maybe address the big problem? It ain't the drug use, it's some other stuff going on. Mayor Bill de Blasio began championing safe injection sites in 2018, citing their use and success in Europe and Canadian cities. The decision to officially allow the sites to open comes during the mayor's first few weeks in office as he considers a run for governor. He said in a statement that the decision will show other cities that after decades of failure, a smarter approach is possible. Go and shoot dope up over here. We can control the dope and everybody can be high and we're not going to worry about the fact that you have no job, you're depressed, you have a mental issue, you're abusing your family, beating your kids. Smoke that dope. The mayor also sent a letter to providers promising not to take enforcement action against their operations. 4 of the city's 5 district attorneys, excluding only the Staten Island district attorney, Michael McHone, support supervised drug sites. But you support locking up the Negroes too, and the Hispanics, and the whites, and whoever else is selling drugs. But yet you can come do them in your facility. Eric Adams, the mayor-elect, has expressed support for overdose prevention centers, as has the incoming Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg. Nationally, overdose deaths rose to more than 100,000 in a 12-month period. They ended in April, according to the National Center for Health Statistics, up nearly 30% from the previous 12 months. More than 2,000 people died of drug overdose in New York City in 2020, the highest total since the city began keeping track of overdose deaths in 2000. During the first 3 months of 2021, there were close to 600 overdose deaths, according to the preliminary data. New York also saw an increase in overdose deaths related to fentanyl and other synthetic drugs. Man, they got all these billions of dollars, but yet they're not going to help the inner city schools. They're not going to help them get that, get that real qualification, instead of giving them a C in place of an A, making them think they really did something, because they don't want them to get their feelings hurt if they get failed. But they'll let them shoot that dope. They'll let them go and smoke that dope. I'm telling you, man, it's ass backwards right now. Ass backwards. The city provides funding to 2 nonprofits that run the needle exchange programs, New York Harm Reduction Educators and Washington Heights Corner Project, which are merging to form On Point NYC. I know deep in my soul that we are doing the right thing, said Sam Rivera, the executive director of On Point, adding that the data doesn't lie. The data doesn't lie when you help people get educated and you give them something to look forward to, and maybe they won't want to do drugs. Maybe they'll find something better in life. Maybe they'll see that life has some purpose. When you're on drugs, when you're down there at the low, you don't care. You're on the brink of just self-destruction. Nothing matters but that high. Maybe if you gave them purpose, maybe if there's something that needs to be in as far as input into the community, you can change the desire for people to want to do drugs. Thought about that? Both sites began offering injection services on Tuesday. Inside the East Harlem site, a dozen people sat in chairs in a waiting area. Some were eating lunch, some were seeking refuge from the raw weather, and some were dozing, quietly affected by whatever narcotic they had just taken. The Overdose Prevention Center, an inner room with 8 booths equipped with crash carts, stocked with Noxalone and other life-saving tools. In the day room, Kayleen C., On Point Senior Director of Programs, interrupted a tour she was giving reporters when she spotted a bearded man in one of the chairs with his head all the way down on his chest. She noticed his nod seemed very heavy. She walked over and rubbed his sternum and quietly told him, "I need 2 more hours from you before you would feel comfortable with him leaving." The man sat up. About 40 people had come in to use as of 2 p.m. at the East Harlem location on the first official day of operation, while 32 people had used drugs under supervision at the Washington Heights site, Ms. C said. Staff had reversed 2 overdoses, she said. That means the world, Ms. Rivera said, pausing to collect himself. 2 people are alive because we're here. But they talk about the war on drugs. They talk about the war on drugs, man. It's a big business, man. This thing is big business. Don't get it twisted, man. These people are clowning at the top. Federal law, however, still describes activities at On Point's 2 facilities as unlawful. A federal law, often referred to as the crack house statute, makes it illegal to operate, own, or rent a location for the purpose of using illegal substances. The Justice Department under the Trump administration sued in 2019 to stop supervised injection facility in Philadelphia from opening. The Biden administration has embraced harm reduction methods, but has not explicitly endorsed supervised injection sites. Dr. Chikoshi said the city has had productive conversations with federal and state health officials and said he believed the facilities would be allowed to operate because of a shared sense of urgency about addressing the overdose crisis. You can't have no crack house. You better not have a trap house. Nigga, you going to the pen. But we can set up a crack house and get funded. Imagine if your crack house was funded. What if you wanted to set one up in the hood so that the homies could come through and the little smokers and tweakers could come through and you can look out for everybody? Who runs that business? What kind of credentials do you need to run a legal trap house? Officials from the Justice Department declined to comment Tuesday on whether they would intervene. Michael Botticelli, the former director of White House Office of National Drug Control Policy under President Barack Obama, said the Department of Justice did not prosecute states when recreational marijuana use began to be legalized around the country. Many cities have been waiting for someone to go first, particularly to see what the Federal Department of Justice reaction is going to be, Mr. Botticelli said. On the state level, Governor Kathy Hochul wants to explore the efficiency of supervised injection sites and how it impacts our communities, said her spokeswoman. The incoming state health commissioner, Dr. Mary Bassett, served as New York City's health commissioner when the pilot for supervised injection sites was announced in 2018, has voiced support for the facilities. But you better not be selling no dope in the hood. You better not make no money. We're making all the money and we're getting funded by the state. Millions and millions of dollars while you go to prison. East Harlem, already home to heavy concentration of methadone clinics and other drug treatment centers. Eva Chan, a member of Community Board 11, has been bracing for the opening of injection site and lamented that it would just further cement the neighborhood status as a place where drug use and sales are tolerated. If every district in New York City has one site, it's not right next to my home. I'm not against it, Ms. Chan said, but the root cause of high drug use in East Harlem is the over-concentration of drug treatment facilities. This does not address that. Cedary Asbury Crestfield, a co-founder of the Greater Harlem Coalition, a neighborhood improvement group, has held protests to demand reduction in the number of density of substance abuse treatment facilities in Harlem. Not only can I buy my drugs here, but I can safely shoot them up in a comfortable atmosphere where people are watching over me, Ms. Asbury Crestfield said, and then they go outside and wreak havoc in the neighborhood. We can't live like this. No, you can't live like that. You imagine people just shooting dope, then walking down, seeing your checking, see if your house is unlocked, going up in there, and you got to bust their head, or you got to put a pistol up in them, and then what do you catch a charge for trying to protect yours? Health officials will identify additional needle exchange programs that can expand their service to include supervised injections, overdose prevention by looking at where those facilities are and where there are clusters of people who are overdosing. It's in the hood. So rich neighborhoods ain't gonna have no goddamn place next to them. Don't nobody want to walk out their Rolls Royce or their $1 million home and see a crackhead or a meth head walking up to their house. Alyssa Aguilera, co-executive director of Vocal NY, a group that advocates for low-income New Yorkers affected by drug use and HIV and AIDS, said that her organization hoped to open an overdose prevention center in Brooklyn. Proponents of supervised injection sites argue that the facility would not only prevent overdose deaths, but can actually stem the problem of public drug use that often leaves a trail of used syringes on streets and in parks. In 2020, a study in New England Journal of Medicine found that there had been no overdose deaths at an unsanctioned supervised injection site from 2014 to 2019. There have been more than 10,000 injections that resulted in 33rd opioid-involved overdoses, which the staff reversed using Naloxone. A systematic review of 22 studies of overdose prevention sites, most focused on supervised injection facility in Vancouver, found that overdose deaths were reduced while there was not an increase in crime or nuisance activities in surrounding neighborhoods. Councilwoman Diane Ayala, who represents East Harlem and South Bronx, said that the problem of drug sales and use exploded in the pandemic. She now finds so many syringes encircling her vehicle when it's parked near her East Harlem office that she keeps a box in the trunk to safely collect them. We need to stop pretending and to have the difficult conversation, Ms. Ayala said. She received a call on Tuesday morning from Councilman Robert F. Holding, a conservative Democrat who represents Queens and remains unconvinced that the sites won't disrupt stable neighborhoods. Mr. Holding said he wanted to learn more, but he already knows that his constituents will object, even though many families have loved ones who are struggling with addiction. It is going to be hard to sell in any middle or working class community, he said. That sentiment played out Tuesday afternoon in East Harlem, where the supervised injection site is across the street from Graham School, an early childhood program run by the Association to Benefit Children. Juan Carlos Feliz, a technician picking up his children 2 and 3, was surprised to learn the safe injection site right across the street. That's not cool at all, said Mr. Feliz, 28. Why would they have a place like that near a school? Inside the site, China Rodriguez, 36, a crack user, said she was grateful the facility was in operation. We're here, the police are not bothering us, we're not out in the park dying, and we're not out in front of the kids, she said. Jeffrey C. Mays is a reporter on the Metro desk who covers politics with a focus on New York City Hall, a native Brooklyn. He is a graduate, Columbia University. At Jeff C. Mays. Andy Newman writes about social services and poverty in New York City and its environs. He covered the New York's metropolitan area for the Times for 25 years, written nearly 4,000 stories and blog posts. At Andy Local. Yeah. You tell me what you think it is. I would love to see your comments, man. Do you want this across the street from your children's school? Do you want it down the street from where you lay your head at night? Do you think that we should better allocate that money to the communities and helping the real problem, which is the mental issues going on in our community and in society? Big Herc916, man. I try to keep it positive and motivating, but stuff like this needs to be addressed. Don't forget to stop by the Big Herc916 store and pick up a sticker for your car, or a patch, or a sticker for your laptop, or maybe a beanie, or read one of the many books that Big Herc916 has authored. You know how we do it. Hello, I'm Big Herc916. Contact me for life coaching and motivational speaking.